You're such an asshole.
Hello, children. Old Capmeister here, and we have kind of an obscure request. He paid for it. Is he auf Deutschland? Yeah. I don't know. DE, is that Deutschland? So, let's go here. Hello, Captain Capitalism. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is as follows. Go to the site understandmyself.com and take the personality test designed by Jordan Peterson. Do a video response reporting on your finding. Please title the video The Peterson Test. On your I see what you did there. Oh. Kind regards, Ed. I won't mention your full name because you got a unique name. But, well, thank you, Ed. So he paid, and I went online. And what's funny is I had downloaded some Jordan Peterson videos, converted them to MP3 on my hike yesterday for a completely different thing. And he talked about the 5 sectors of personality. So I went there. You paid, by the way, the inimitable Kevin Michael Grace is talking about your upcoming book here. Oh, I'll have to check him out. Check that guy out. I always appreciate that. So he paid. So I took the test, and it's just, it's one of these things, kind of like Myers-Briggs, I guess, which I haven't taken in 20 years. And it's, a scale of 1 to 5. 1, strongly disagree. 2, disagree. 3, neutral. 4, agree. 5, strongly disagree. And I think it was 100 questions or whatever. And it spit out 16 pages of results. So I'll just read through it. This might be a little bit long. You have just completed assessing yourself with 100 phrases. Our systems have compared your self-ratings to those of thousands of other people. You're being compared to men and women of all ages. This means that if you are young, your scores of neuroticism will be higher, and on agreeableness and conscientiousness will be lower than if you're compared to people of your own age, with the reverse being true for older individuals. For men, the scores on agreeableness and neuroticism will be lower than if they... Was I compared to my own age? You're being compared to men and women of all ages. Okay. Because it asks you for all this personal information like fake data, fake data, fake data. I think it was a 78-year-old man that took this test. For men, scores on agreement will be lower than if they were just being compared to men. For men, their scores on agreeableness will be lower. Okay, I see. We decided to make the comparison simple so that you know where you stand in comparison to the typical person with ages as irrelevant. Here are your results. You'll see below where you stand in comparison to others in general population on the major traits and their aspects. Agreeableness, which means compassion and politeness. Conscientiousness, which means industriousness and orderliness. Extraversion, which means enthusiasm and assertiveness. Neuroticism, which means withdrawal and volatility. I quickly went over this real quick. I don't know what withdrawal is. And then openness to experience, and that includes openness and intellect. Remember that each of you say, note that if you find the scriptures harshly, you might appropriate it, meaning you're self-critical than necessary. I took this 100% honestly. Some of them were kind of like, 4, 3. Others like 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 5, 1, 1. Okay, agreeableness, exceptionally low. You're exceptionally low in agreeableness, which is the primary dimension of interpersonal interaction in the Big 5 personality trait scientific model. Agreeableness has 2 aspects, compassion and politeness, which will be explained separately. Agreeableness is a very complex trait with marked positive and negative elements all along its distribution. Because of this, higher scores and lower scores need to be explained. Oh God, do I want to read through this whole thing? People high in agreeableness are nice, compliant, nurturing, kind, naively trusting, and conciliatory. However, because of their tendency to avoid conflict, they often dissemble and hide what they think. People low in agreeableness, right here, baby, are not so nice. They're stubborn, dominant, harsh, skeptical, competitive, and in the extreme, even predatory. However, they tend to be straightforward, even blunt, so you know where they stand. Your score puts you at... I did not know this existed. Your score puts you at the 0th percentile of agreeableness. If you were one of 100 people in a room, you would be less agreeable than 99 of them. That makes me the least agreeable person in the room, and more agreeable than 0 of them. People with exceptionally low levels of agreeableness are seen by others as markedly competitive, colder, tougher, and much less empathetic. They do not easily see the best in others, and they are not particularly tolerant, an attitude that is much valued by agreeable people. They're very much less concerned about the emotional state of others, are uncommonly willing to engage in conflict, and will happily sacrifice peace and harmony to make a point if conscientious, to get things done. People may find them painfully straightforward and blunt. They tend to be very strongly towards dominance rather than submission, particularly if also below average in neuroticism. Am I below average in neuroticism? Where's neuroticism? Orderliness, extraversion, neuroticism. Was that one of the main? I'm moderately high. Was that good or bad? Below average. Okay, I was above average in neuroticism. It's alright. People with exceptionally low levels of agreeableness do not always easily forgive. They're definitely not accepting, flexible, gentle, or patient. They feel minimal pity for those who are excluded, punished, or defeated, and attribute such problems to weakness or inability. Because it's true. Don't forget, just laziness is stupidity either, huh? Huh, JP? They're also extremely unlikely to be taken advantage of by disagreeable, manipulative, or otherwise troublesome people, or those with criminal or predatory intent. Their extraordinary high levels of skepticism play a protective role, although it often interferes with their ability to cooperate with or trust others whose intentions are genuinely good, of which no people exist, because people are fucking morons, and you need to not only tell people what to do, you need to fucking beat them to get it done. And you all think I'm being funny, but you all know it's true. Why? Because people are lazy. It's a cute psychology test. They are also much less likely to reward good behavior, to give credit where it is due. They cooperate grudgingly, and only when cooperation is in their clear self-interest, preferring competition with its well-defined losers and winners. I just don't want other people around because they're slow and they're a pain in the ass and they're stupid. They do not lose arguments or avoid discussions with anyone for any reason and enjoy the battle. This can interfere with their ability to learn from the experience of others. They're very likely to be expert at bargaining for themselves and at negotiating for more recognition or power, and are likely to have higher salaries and to earn more money in consequence. People exceptionally low in agreeableness are therefore less likely to suffer from resentment or to harbor invisible anger. Let's see, who do you want on your side? You want honest Cappy here. Honest Abe Cappy. I'll tell you what I think. They let you know what they think when they think it, whether you want to know it or not. I usually wait for people to ask. In addition, because of the tendency to engage in conflict, at a moment's notice, people exceptionally low in agreeableness do not sacrifice meaningful long-term stability and functionality for the sake of short-term peace. Yeah, why would you? They make it seem like this is a choice. There's a right answer to this. You think you know, or think, yes, I fucking do. There's no one here. It's just a window, actually. This means that problems that should be solved in the present are often solved quickly and harshly. This means that such problems may not accumulate counterproductively across time. Well, yeah, like student loans grow exponentially. The price paid for this, people close to those exceptionally low in agreeableness will frequently experience them as overbearing and uncaring. No, that's bad. Women are higher in agreeableness than men. The mean percentile for women in general of the population, women and men, is 61. For men, it is 38.5. The fact that men are lower in agreeableness than women helps explain the much higher rates of criminal incarceration, 90% male. The primary difference between criminals and non-criminals is disagreeableness. Boy, I should be in jail then. If the typical criminal is more disagreeable than 98% of the people in the population, then almost all criminals will be male. This difference in agreeableness between men and women is largest in countries such as Norway and Sweden. Really? Where the most has been done to ensure difference. is largest, where more has been done to ensure equality of outcome between the sexes. This provides strong evidence of biological factors rather than environmental and learning account for this similarity. Oh, that's interesting. God, how long is this? Do you guys want to hear the whole thing? Agreeableness is not strongly associated with political liberalism or conservatism, but this is because the aspects of agreeableness, I don't know, we don't need it. There are large differences between men and women in terms of spontaneous interest, and these also appear associated with agreeableness. Agreeable people, caring as they do for others, are more likely to enter professions associated with people such as teaching and nursing, which are dominated by women. This is true in the Scandinavian countries where attempts to produce gender equal societies has reached a maximum. Disagreeable people, by contrast, appear to prefer systematizing over empathizing, and are more interested in things, machines, and technology. In consequence, professions such as engineering and trades associated with the ones where all the money is made, proving once again it's more reality-based. Okay, agreeableness has two aspects, compassion and politeness. So now we go into the two subcategories of this. Compassion, exceptionally low. You are exceptionally low in compassion, which is one aspect of agreeableness. Your score puts you in the second percentile for compassion. If you were one of 100 people in a room, you would be less compassionate than 97 of them, and more compassionate than 2 of them. Those fuckers. Exceptionally less compassionate people are not all oriented towards the problem of other people, not at all oriented towards the problem of other people or other living things. They are not swayed or emotionally engaged by helplessness or cuteness. They are very willing, even happy, to make other people experience negative emotion by engaging in conflict and competition. I don't know if I go seek that out, but if they're wrong, they want to win, period, and will engage in confrontation necessary to do so. They are therefore very much less concerned about helping other people. They make certain their own needs and interests are attended to and are extraordinarily unwilling to sacrifice for the sake of other people's comfort. They make 38% of my income goes to other people. They can't solve the problems. I'm not spending another fucking second helping them. This can make them harsh and unsympathetic. People might turn to them for the blunt, cold, hard truth, but never for a soft, patient, easy listening ear. Do you want your problem fucking solved or not? Do you want to be mad? You want me to jerk you off? Go talk to someone with, agreeableness, compassion? They are remarkably less empathetic and caring. However, because they are not primarily other-oriented, they can negotiate expertly on their own behalf. In consequence, they are unlikely to harbor feelings of resentment or hidden anger. You can always trust old Cappy. They find it difficult to trust, however, even when such trust would be productive. And other people are likely to find them callous and unfeeling. They want my money. Why are you so mean? Why are you so mean? Give me your money. Compassion, second percentile. You are less compassionate than 97 of 100 people. Those who are liberal politically score somewhat higher in compassion than conservatives. Women are also higher in compassion than men. Well, because it's not their money they're fucking using. The mean percentile for women in population is 61, for men is 39. Okay. Politeness, exceptionally low. You are exceptionally low in politeness. This is one aspect of agreeableness. Your score puts you in the 0th percentile again for politeness. If you were one of 100 people in a room, you would be less polite than 99. I'm the least polite of them all. People who are exceptionally low in politeness challenge and confront authority. They are not obedient. If they are respectful, it is grudgingly. Yes! Dude. It'd be a whole new world if there weren't some laws in place. Only reason I have what some would consider ethical behavior is because it's illegal for me to do certain things. That's it. Total slaughter. Total slaughter. And it will only be manifested towards people who continually both deserve and demand it. They are comfortable confronting other people and enjoying it. People extremely low in politeness are motivated to engage in conflict and to seek out confrontation. They may have a strong tendency towards conduct disordered, antisocial, delinquent, even criminal behavior, particularly if male and adolescent. They may find themselves very frequently in trouble with authority and consequence. Their skepticism can make it extremely difficult for them to find a place in the middle or lower in difficult for them to find a place in the middle or lower hierarchies of power and dominance. They are hyper-dominant rather than submissive, particularly if they are also low in neuroticism. I think I'm relatively low in neuroticism. Politeness 0 percentile. Women are higher in politeness than men. That just means they lie more. Politeness means what percent of the time do you lie? Let me translate that into real English. Maybe it's in Canadian American lost in it, but polite means to lie. Nice means to lie. Conscientiousness, exceptionally high. You are exceptionally high in conscientiousness, which is the primary dimension of dutiful achievement in the Big Five personality trait scientific model. Conscientiousness is a measure of obligation, attention to detail, hard work, persistence, cleanliness, efficiency, adherence to rules, standards, and processes. Conscientious people implement their plans and establish and maintain order. Your score puts you at the 96th percentile, so there's 3 other cats who are more conscientious than me. Exceptionally conscientious people are extremely dutiful. They are sloggers. They are made extraordinarily comfortable by inactivity. Boy, that's deadly accurate right there. They work remarkably hard and hate wasting time. Yep. They're extremely unlikely to procrastinate, particularly if they are also below an average in neuroticism. If an exceptionally conscientious person promises to do something, he or she will do it regardless of circumstances without finding excuses. Right here, baby. So far, what world would you like to live in? Mean, impolite, very conscious people, or just touchy-feely? Hopefully things will change. I voted for a president based on hope one time, and it worked out wonderful. They're extraordinarily decisive, neat, organized, future-oriented, and reliable. They're not easily distracted. Other people may think of them as excessively focused on achievement, productivity, and order. There are a couple questions about, like, oh, your place is a mess, so how does that bother you? Yeah. 96 here. You are more conscious than 90. Exceptionally conscientious people are extreme. Wait, conscientiousness. What was the other one? Conscientiousness. Okay. Are extremely likely to obtain higher grades in academic settings, particularly if they are also intelligent. Where did I go? They make extremely good administrators and managers. Do as I fucking say now! They must have everything in its proper place, however, which has advantages and disadvantages, and are likely to be obsessed with detail. Not here. They do things exactly by the book. Exceptionally conscientious people are remarkably prone to guilt, though they're extremely ask Chad Elkins about that one. Extremely likely to organize their lives so they have little to feel guilty about. Extremely conscientious people are also extraordinarily susceptible to shame, self-disgust, and self-contempt. You assume guilt or conscious on my part. Individuals who are exceptionally conscientious can react catastrophically to failure. They're extremely judgmental and easily disgusted by their own moral transgressions. No. I must answer the question wrong. I have very few morals, as well as those of others. They suffer extreme shame and guilt when unemployed or otherwise unoccupied, even when that occurs through no fault of their own. Extremely conscientious people are exceptionally committed to personal responsibility. They're absolutely convinced that those who work hard should and will be rewarded. Until Bernie Sanders gets elected, then all you lazy parasitic fucks get my money and hard work, right? Because you were oppressed because you had this color skin or that type of plumbing. And that's the and then the ADA does. That's why I need other people's money, because of traits I was born with. Gimme. They can be hyper concerned with hygiene, moral purity, and achievement. Yeah. I am a libertarian. They can be very micromanaging and neutral. No. Exceptionally conscientious people are much more likely to be political conservatives rather than liberal. Women are slightly more conscientious than men. There's only a 2-point difference. They're both 51-49. Industriousness, exceptionally high, 96. There's only 3 other bastards who are more industrious than me. in a room. Exceptionally industrious people are extremely likely to be successful in school and in administrative managerial positions, especially if they're intelligent. They love to work and always have to be doing something useful. They do not at all like to sit around. Yeah, they are extremely dutiful. They never put things off. They do not mess things up. They always finish what they start, and they do it on schedule. Ask Chet Elkins again. They're always obsessed with accomplishing more in less time with fewer resources. They have exceptional focus. It repeats these things. Yes, I know I'm 96. Liberal women. Men are slightly more industrious than women, 51.5. I find that interesting. Men are slightly... I thought it would have been more gappy because of the wage gap. I could be wrong. There are other factors. Orderliness, high. You are high in orderliness is one aspect of conscientiousness. Your score puts you at the 88th percentile. Okay, so I'm not on the extreme there. I'm high, but I'm not on the extreme. Highly ordered people tend to be disturbed and disgusted by a mess and chaos. Okay, see, I'm okay with a little bit of a mess. They keep everything tidy and organized. They tend to think more black and white things are good or bad, acceptable or unacceptable, with little room for gray area. Because the fucking evil, lazy, parasitic fucks of society hide in the gray. They want everything to be the way it should be. They're rule-abiding and tend to insist that rules are observed. They can be judgmental towards themselves and others when rules are broken or procedures are ignored. They do not like to be without routine and predictability. They can be good at that, blah, blah, blah. 80th percentile. Excessive orderliness can also constrain creativity, as creative endeavors often require mess, disruption, and intervening. Women are more orderly than men, 55 to 45. Sufficient. Extraversion, very high. You are a very high in extraversion, which is the primary dimension of positive emotion in the Big Five personality trait scientific model. Extraversion is a measure of general sensitivity to positive emotions. What? Such as hope, joy, anticipation, and approach, particularly in social situations. Your score puts you in the 91st percentile of extraversion. 8 other people more extroverted than me. People with very high levels of extrovert are very enthusiastic, talkative, assertive in social situations, and gregarious. I gotta look that word up. They are highly energized by social contact and crave it. Find great, unless you hang out with the masculine geeks, and then you're just like, oh, who are these guys? They find great pleasure in planning parties. No. Telling jokes. Sure. Making people laugh. Yes. And taking part in community activities. They typically have positive memories of the past, high levels of current self-esteem, particularly if they're low and experience far above average optimism about the future. Boy, I must answer some questions wrong on that one. People who are commonly extroverted have a difficult time keeping things to themselves. They tend to tell everyone everything. They're very self-disclosing and warm up rapidly to other people. Well, I must answer some questions wrong. They speak first and most often in meetings. They can be extremely captivating and convincing. They will often be the first to act. That's true. Because otherwise people just sit there and look. That last piece of pizza, it's sitting there, no one touches it except me. I'll fucking grab that with pride. People very high in extroversion can also be highly impulsive, particularly when it comes to having fun in social situations. They tend strongly to sacrifice the future for the present. No, when something social or group-oriented beckons, it's hard for them to be alone and to study and to work. They can be very easily distracted by opportunities to chat, joke, and socialize. Well, this is... okay, I did answer so. Women are slightly more extroverted than men, 52 versus 48. Extroversion has 2 aspects, enthusiasm and assertiveness. Enthusiasm. I'm dead center. You're typical or average in enthusiasm, which is one aspect of extroversion. Your score puts you at the 47th percentile for enthusiasm. Individuals who are average in enthusiasm have their excitable moments, are sometimes happy, and are reasonably easy to get to know, but they're essentially moderate in their positive emotion. They'll talk about things that people are trying to particularly, but tend to keep more quiet. Otherwise, they laugh at a joke when not excessive. Okay, all right. Women 55, men 45. Assertiveness, exceptionally high. You're exceptionally high in assertiveness, which is one aspect of extroversion. Your score puts you at the 98th percentile. One son of a bitch is more assertive than me. Exceptional assertive people take charge types. They put their own opinions forward extremely strongly, constantly dominate and control social situations. Exceptionally assertive people can be extremely influential and captivating. They have the communication style and is often associated with leadership. You damn right, motherfuckers. Except the only problem is no one will follow me. This is good when they are knowledgeable, competent, and able. Thank you. But not so good when they aren't. I know people like that. Not me. Certain people who are people of action. They don't wait for others to lead the way, because once again, they'll all stand there looking at each other, but leap in heedlessly. They can be impulsive, inconsequent, and act without thinking. Liberals tend to be slightly less assertive than conservatives. Women less assertive than men. 48 to 52. Neuroticism, moderately high. You are moderately high in neuroticism, which is the primary dimension of negative emotion in the Big Five personality trait specific model. Neuroticism is a measure of general sensitivity to negative emotions such as pain, sadness, irritable or defensive anger, fear, and anxiety. Puts you in the 61st percentile of neuroticism. Moderately high levels are somewhat more likely to think that things have gone wrong in the past, are going wrong now, and will continue to go wrong in the future. 'Cause they do! Who hurt you? Everyone! Who do you think? Was your world all perfect and happy? Do you come from the world where nobody hurt you? This hurtless world? Lying fucking Kawantas. People with mindsets are somewhat more likely to think that things are going. They're also a bit more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and irritable when just thinking or remembering, and when they encounter a genuine problem. They have lower than average levels of self-esteem, particularly when they are also low in extraversion, aroused as a risk factor for anxiety disorders and depression. Moderately high in a few with success, relationships, career, strong effect on relationships, moderately high levels, associated with slightly more concern about mental and physical health, more physician emergency room visits, higher than average levels of absenteeism at work and school. No. Appear to be somewhat risk averse, which means they're going to be less likely to pursue or enjoy recreational, career, financial, and social situations where the possibility of loss is high. Predictor of political belief. And the two groups on this is withdrawal and volatility. You are low in withdrawal, which is one aspect of neuroticism. Your score puts you on the 19th percentile for withdrawal. If you were one, okay. Individuals low in withdrawal rarely suffer or are impeded by anticipatory anxiety. They can handle new, uncertain, unexpected, threatening, or complex situations well. They're substantially less likely to avoid or withdraw in the face of unknown and unexpected. People with low levels of withdrawal tend not to feel sad, lonesome, disappointed, or grief-stricken, and if they do, not deeply nor long. They experience much lower than normal levels of doubt, worry, embarrassment, self-consciousness, and discouragement in the face of threat and punishment. They're quite resistant to and rarely worried about social rejection and rarely feel hurt or threatened. Even when actually hurt, frightened, or anxious, they recover easy quickly. Oh my God, Aaron Clarey, you're an amazing person. Thank you very much. Withdrawal 19. They go over the male-female politics. Here's the volatility. This is the other aspect of neuroticism. Your score puts you at 91%. 8 rat bastards more than me. Individuals very high in volatility tend to vary in great deal with their mood. They can be very irritable, reaching quite strongly to disappointment, frustration, pain, and the threat of social isolation. They can lash out and are very easily annoyed. They are likely to act out or verbally express their frustration, disappointment, and irritability. They can be easily stirred up and upset, and once angry or irritated, take comparatively long time to calm down. They may be argumentative and can lose their composure. Perhaps people very high in volatility get very upset if something bad does happen, while people high in withdrawal on the other aspect of it are extremely concerned that something might bad happen. Technically, volatility has been associated with the activity in the brain systems that regulate fight, flight, or freeze. Freeze? Just roll over. Booty, 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 booty. Women are more volatile than men, 58 to 42. Openness to experience moderately high. This is the, what are we on, fifth and final of the Big Five. Openness to experience is a measure of interest in novelty, art, literature, abstract thinking, philosophy, as well as sensitivity to aesthetic emotions and beauty. Your score puts you at the 71st percentile of openness to experience, especially when it involves a big-titted redhead. If you were one of 100, blah, blah, blah. Okay, people moderately high openness to experience are somewhat more likely than average to be characterized by others as smart, creative, exploratory, intelligent, visionary. They tend to be more interested in learning and acquiring new abilities and skills. They're curious and exploratory. They find themselves interested in abstract thinking, philosophy, and the meaning of belief system and ideologies. They attend cultural events such as movies, concerts, dance recitals, plays, poetry, gallery. What? Okay, here I won't. If art wasn't so freaking gay, and I don't mean that as an affront to the homosexual community, I mean in the old sense, in the 90s and the aughts when it meant lame. I might, like, you show me real, like, architecture in Italy, that was beautiful. Art today was asking questions about art. I'm like, that's not really, because you have modern art in the United States and it's shit. The music is shit. The movies are shit. Ask me that question about movies in the 80s, might have had a different response. Like to confront and solve problems. Openness to experience, 71st percentile. Likely to be readers with a wider range of interests. They have a broader and deeper vocabulary. They can think and learn quite quickly. They're comparatively proficient. People moderately high in openness tend to be entrepreneurial in spirit, as well as smarter and more creative. This guy right here. They have more than average interest in creating new ventures, sometimes for profit. Is there another reason? Sometimes for curiosity. Oh yeah, let's start a non-profit. See if it solves poverty this time. Oh, it didn't. And sometimes for personal transformation. At least moderately high levels of openness to experience creating necessary formation of leadership in business, other forms of complex organization, although conscientiousness is always People moderately high in openness to experience tend to be interested in many things, however they can typically settle on a single path in life and specialize People characterized by combinations of moderately high openness to experience and very high or above levels of neuroticism can undermine their own convictions. Openness to experience is the dimension that best predicts political allegiance with conscientious. Those who are liberal, intellect, exceptionally high. Do not confuse the personality aspect of intellect with IQ. Intellect is a measure of interest in abstract ideas, essentially, while IQ is a measure of processing speed, verbal ability, and working. But I just scored super high on both, baby. You're exceptionally high in intellect, which is one aspect of openness to experience. Your score puts you in the 96th percentile, meaning there's only 3 people who are more intellectual than me. People exceptionally high in intellect are obsessed by engaging with ideas and abstract concepts. They require exposure to novel information, particularly when it's complex and sophisticated. They're extremely curious and exploratory and actively need to find, tackle, and solve challenging problems. They will constantly seek out and initiate issue-oriented discussions and tend to compulsively read, think about, and discuss idea-centered books, generally nonfiction. They are notably articulate and can formulate ideas very clearly and exceptionally quickly, particularly if average or higher in extraversion. Or they're a great author. They have much broader and wider vocabulary, continually require themselves to learn new things. People exceptionally high in intellect will continually find and generate novel, creative concepts and voluntarily search and adapt exceptionally fast. Okay. People exceptionally high in intellect find complex, rapidly changing occupations absolutely necessary, will excel in them. However, they are not all suited to stable, straightforward, and more traditional occupations where the rules don't change, will experience continual periods of boredom and intolerable levels of frustration in such positions. Let's throw all kids into school for 13 years, all right? Great idea? Okay, let's do that. They're much more suited to entrepreneurial, creative, and liberals are higher in intellect than conservatives, though the biggest difference between the two is openness to experience. Women are lower than men in intellect, although not IQ. There's probably a difference in interest. Women 45, men 55. Openness, low. You are low in openness, which is one aspect of openness to experience. Your score puts you at a 21st percentile for openness. The closest synonym for openness is creativity. People low in openness or creativity do not find beauty important and may not even notice it. They generally don't require or request an outlet for their creative ability and will certainly not wither away without it. They don't typically appreciate art or beautiful crafts and are much less sensitive to color and architectural form. They are rarely collectors, and if they are generally not passionate about it. They're much less imaginative, much more rarely daydream, and reflect much less often than average. If they enjoy music or other art forms, they stick to what is conventional, popular, and rarely enjoy more than one genre. They're much less often musical or artistic themselves. They really become immersed in a book or a movie or in their own thoughts. People of low openness tend to be stable and conventional, particularly if also average or above in conscientiousness. At least moderate levels of openness tend to be necessary for entrepreneurial success, improved comparatively useful at the top of hierarchies. Even if conservative occupations in banking, accounting, and law need creative people leadership, liberals are higher in openness than conservatives, although the biggest difference is women higher than men, 56-44. And that's it. So we'll do the quicker version. Agreeableness, 0th percentile. Politeness, 0th percentile. Conscientiousness, 96th percentile. Industriousness, 96th percentile. Orderliness, 88th. Extraversion, 91st. Enthusiasm, 47th. Assertiveness, 98th. Neuroticism, 61st. Withdrawal, 19th. Volatility, 91st. 51515115. Openness, 71st. Intellect, 96th. Openness, 21st. There you go. Hope that was worth it. You guys want me to go take tests and pay egregious sums of money? You can send it. Go down to Asshole Consulting. Links down below. Check out all my amazing books. And no, I don't believe in Myers-Briggs. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.